The Lakers steal home court advantage and Austin Reeves celebrates by sharing his pronouns. The Clippers also steal home court advantage, but will Paul George be around to enjoy it? And the Kings, well, their Stanley Cup run, they're a better team than last year. Unfortunately, so's Edmonton. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is April 17th, 2023. I am back in Portland, Oregon, a city so stank that it reminds us all that even once in a blue moon, Fox News might have a point. But what the hell, let's talk LA sports. If you like the content that we put out, clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell, hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring, let people know we exist, and by all means comment. It's Monday. Let's lighten the mood, talk sports. Before we go through the news and notes, look at the scoreboard. Yesterday, Rui Hachimura, of all people, 29 points. He went nuts. And the Lakers went nuts with a 128-112 victory over Memphis. The Lakers, the 7th seed, over a 2 so far in the best of 7. Game 2 will be Wednesday night. Kawhi Leonard, 38 points as the Clippers go on the road and defeat Phoenix 115-110 in Game 1. Game 2 of that best of 7 series, that's going to be on Tuesday. The Chicago Cubs won a series against the Dodgers for the first time since 2014. They defeated the Dodgers yesterday out at the Ravine 3-2. And in El Tráfico, Carlos Vela scored a brace. It was LAFC 3, Galaxy 2. There is a recap of that match on the Galaxy playlist. Meanwhile, today, the New York Mets are coming into town to face the Dodgers at 7. Dustin May is 1-1 with a 1.47 ERA. David Peterson, 0-2. The 4.91 ERA. And of course, the Kings start their run to hopefully a third Stanley Cup. They're going to play Edmonton. It is game 1 of a playoff rematch, 7 o'clock. Now, both the Lakers and the Clippers deserve a chef's kiss, if you will, for their work yesterday. Both teams stealing home court advantage in the first round of the NBA playoffs. But there's a really good reason that I want to start with the Lakers. And that's because it's Ja Morant's injury status. Because he is basically unguardable. He's arguably one of the top 5 offensive forces in the game. And if he can't go for Memphis, the Lakers are going to advance. Morant, if you saw the game yesterday, in the fourth quarter, Morant drove the key. He goes up against Anthony Davis, hits Anthony Davis, and then like a fulcrum just like belly flops over, and while he's plummeting towards the court, throws out his hand, bang. Now, we don't know if the hand he injured is his lucky gun-holding hand for social media posts. Fingers crossed on that. But we do know that he did get x-rays at the stadium. The x-rays were negative. After the game, he described the pain level as a 10. And as a medical professional, such as myself, a 10 is not good, not at all. In addition to that, he said that returning to playing game 2 is in jeopardy. Now, in my opinion, I'm obviously not a doctor. He's probably going to get an MRI on the hand to see what damage may or may not have been done. Memphis went 6-3 without Morant due to that gun suspension that he had earlier in the year. But let's be real. They may have gone 6-3 without him, but that was the regular season. A short series versus the Lakers? If you think Tyus Jones can fill his shoes in the playoffs, you're begging. You're begging. Now, we mentioned Hachimura, but Austin Reeves came out in the fourth quarter and just dropped 14. It was a terrific performance to end the game. And he knew it too, because after sinking a three-pointer, which pretty much put the game on ice, he turned around at half court and screamed, "I'm him." Which I have to tell you, the first thought I had was, you youngsters and telling everybody your pronouns, man. He, him, they, them. I want somebody to sink a three-pointer and scream, "I'm ZZer." But no, he's him. And I gotta say, I'm okay with him saying that. But there were a lot of he-hims for the Lakers yesterday if you looked at the stats. It wasn't just Reeves that was a he-him, or even Hachimura that was a he-him. Davis was he-him. 22 points and 12 rebounds. LeBron James, 21 points. That was pretty he-him, wouldn't you say? Now, Memphis, they shot themselves in the foot without Ja Morant's gun. I can't get over that. Anyway, Memphis's game plan seemed to be to dare LA to shoot jump shots. And the Lakers obliged by sinking 16 three-pointers. I mean, the Lakers aren't exactly the Splash Brothers, but let's be real. This isn't the team that's the roster that started the year. They specifically added shooting at the trade deadline, and Memphis didn't adjust. So that's on them. But if you could humor me for just a moment, because with all the he-him stuff from Austin Reeves, I don't like to call things she, her, when it comes to grown men. But what the hell was that halftime show about? Did you see the halftime show? Because if you remember, Anthony Davis got hurt just before halftime, and for 15 minutes, all I saw on ESPN were 4 grown-ass men weeping like children with busted balloons and candy stolen from them. It was preposterous. Crying on national TV. Anthony Davis gets hurt at all 4, like, oh my God, what will the Lakers do? I can't cope. Somebody hold me. 4 grown-ass men. And then they cut to commercial, and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe somebody's going to tell them to nut up and come back and talk actual sports like a real man. And they come back to commercial, and it's 5 more minutes of, we can't stop thinking. What in the hell was that? Especially from 2 of them. Stephen A. Smith and Michael Wilbon are alleged professional reporters. I was a professional reporter. I covered the NBA on occasion. And I'm here to tell you, you know what the procedure is when you're a reporter and somebody gets injured? You pound on the door of the Lakers PR department. You pound on the door of the NBA PR department. You're sending text messages. You're blowing up people's phones. I want to hear from the team doctor. I want to hear from the team trainer. I need to hear, is he okay? None of those 4 idiots did that. None of them. Instead, they got emo. They got all up in their feelings for 15 minutes. They didn't mention a thing about strategy. They didn't mention a thing about Memphis. Memphis didn't even exist to those clowns. And then they go right back to the arena, and the play-by-play guy is like, yeah, Anthony Davis is out. He's out to come play again. He's fine. He's going to play. All of that tears for nothing. Anybody complaining that ESPN is getting too feminine, you may say that, but that wasn't a bunch of women on that panel. Those were men, alleged men, beta males. Sometimes you just too emotional, man. The Clippers, by the way, also stole home court, and we mentioned Kawhi Leonard going nuts. But ask yourself, is it fair to say that he single-handedly handed Phoenix that loss? Because I don't think it is. I don't. Because Russell Westbrook stunk yesterday as a shooter, but he was terrific in every other facet of the game. In the last 3 minutes alone, Westbrook grabbed a couple of rebounds, added a couple of assists, and blocked a shot from, I believe it was Devin Booker. Yesterday, on the clip, we were talking about a defensive posture that the Clippers would have to take to try to slow down Chris Paul. But if you really think about it, it wasn't that. It was Russell Westbrook on defense, and they killed Phoenix on the offensive boards, 15-6. So by getting the offensive rebound, you're keeping the ball out of Chris Paul's hands, period. It was an amazing effort on the offensive glass, because you also get that second chance of scoring. If you think about it, 1 minute to go, the Phoenix Suns are down by 1 point. The Clippers missed 3 shots, and they got the offensive rebound all 3 times. Now, having said that, the Clippers are not out of the woods yet. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, who did not cry when he put this report together, reports that Paul George is unlikely to play in the Phoenix series at all. So the Suns are not dead. The Suns are probably in better shape right now than the Grizzlies are. But we'll have to wait and see. Game 2 is on Tuesday night. If defense does in fact win championships, you might be led to believe that the Kings have a much better shot at this second go-round with the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Last year, the Kings played Edmonton without Drew Doughty. LA pushed Edmonton to 7 games. And also, LA is a highly disciplined, highly organized team. What they like to do, if you haven't seen the Kings play a lot of hockey, is they play a 1-3-1 defensive formation, which is 1 player in the offensive zone, 3 players in the neutral zone, and 1 player back on defense. The reason that it's a defensive posture is that the 3 players in the neutral zone are designed to stop the opposing team from getting ahead of steam going into the getting into the Kings' defensive area. And that does, in fact, work pretty well against Edmonton as well. The problem is it doesn't always work against Edmonton. And when it collapses again, when Edmonton collapses that defensive posture, Connor McDavid is one of the best at exposing flaws like that. Even more important, it's not just that LA is structured, but just as LA has improved its roster from last year, so did Edmonton. For example, we talked at length about how the Kings adjusted their goaltending situation by having Phoenix Copley start, by adding Joonas Korpisalo in a trade. Well, the Edmonton Oilers have started a guy named Stuart Skinner over the last couple of months, and he has a .918 save percentage. So he's been terrific for them. Also, the Kings upgraded at defense in the trade deadline. Well, so did Edmonton. They acquired Matthias Ekholm from Florida to solidify their second defensive pairing. Like I said, just like LA did with Vladislav Gavrikov. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is you have 2 teams that improved in exactly the same way, which makes it a really tough time for the Kings to say that they're going to advance. Edmonton is not a one-man show anymore. LA believes it's on the rise. Here's what you need to know about the series in total. Edmonton is the favorite. The Kings roster is specifically built to try to take them out, because the Kings have 2 shutdown centers to try to contain both McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, hopefully providing just enough offense for Los Angeles in the meantime. Having said that, Edmonton is still favored. They just are. And because of the fact that Edmonton has gone 15 games without a regulation loss, they are 14-0-1 in their last 15 regular season games, including a couple of victories against the Kings. It could be a tough go once again for LA. We still don't even have any idea if Kevin Fiala will play, or Gabe Vilardi, by the way. So at this moment, it's hard to say the Kings are going to advance after all of that improvement they did since last year. Cody Bellinger homered for the Cubs during the series against the Dodgers, and as a result, Bill Plaschke of the LA Times is floating out to sea in a pool of his own tears. Wish Bill Plaschke well. Also for the Dodgers, Will Smith has more than a head cold, it turns out. He was put on the 7-day injured list with a concussion. Now, Dave Roberts said Smith took 2 foul balls off of his face mask in a series against San Francisco. He passed a concussion test, of all things. But the player said he still didn't feel well, that he was dizzy, that he was feeling uneasy and groggy. So they decided to put him on the injured list as a precautionary measure. They signed Austin Wynn to pick up the slack. The Scribes were a little curious about that. Why didn't LA say bring up their top prospect, Diego Cartaya? Roberts said Cartaya wasn't considered, not at all. because he needs to play instead of riding the bench. So it's better off for him in the long run to stay in the minor leagues for the time being. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know what you think about the Lakers' chances, and if you think John Morant is actually just pulling the wool over our eyes and will play again. Let me know what you think. If Paul George is going to be the death knell for the Clippers' chances. And if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.